Sacco and Feliz, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFeliz.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnak.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Rev, I don't know if you've heard anything, but the Knicks are in the playoffs. I don't know if you got the news out there yet.
Have I heard? Yeah, right.
So, obviously, we got to discuss all the ramifications of that. But today we're privileged to have Dave Checketts, who was the president of the Knicks from 1990 to 1994, then became president of Madison Square Garden, 1994 to 2001. So he has a lot of information he's going to share with us. From Boston, I can tell you this. I told Mr. Checketts I've hired 2 bodyguards. I walk with security wherever I go in this city now. I've hidden all my Boston memorabilia. You know, I've tried to pick up a New York accent. So you want to keep saying. Anyway, it is a great moment. Dave Checketts, thanks so much for being with the Rev and the Rabbi.
Listen, this is the honor of my life to be on this particular program with the two of you. I admire you both so much, and I don't even wince at all the ribbing I get from Rabbi Potasnak. It's like,
and well deserved. Well deserved. That's what I can tell you. Look, I'm happy for you. I told you, Dave, the other day, once every 53 years. I mean, come on. I support you in this endeavor.
Stop.
Anyway, what does it mean?
The Rangers. Now, remember, the Rangers had gone 54 years when they won it in 1994. So maybe this is the charm. You know?
What does it mean if you're president of Madison Square Garden? What are those responsibilities?
Well, it's president and CEO of Madison Square Garden means that you are over. In those days, it was all one company. It was all together. So I had the Knicks, the Rangers. We launched the women's team, the Liberty, in 1996, so I was over them. Then MSG Network, the regional television sports network, and then the arena itself, and then, all of the other theaters that we were trying to buy. In those days, in 1997, we bought Radio City Music Hall. We renovated it and brought it right back to 1932 with improved sound and lights and made it beautiful again. And that's part of the MSG family now too. Yeah.
Wow. No, that's beautiful. How do you even come into that? I mean, you started out in 1990 as president and then became CEO. So president over the Knicks, right? So that's one thing. But when you became CEO of MSG, now that brings in the hockey teams, right? What else does it bring under your jurisdiction?
The women's team, the women's basketball team, the Liberty.
That's right.
Which, they later sold to the group in Brooklyn. They now play in the Brooklyn arena. But I had graduated from business school. I'd gone to work for a company in Boston. I did live in Boston. I was a Boston sports fan.
Now you're talking.
I know it's hard to believe because I'm a nice guy, but I was a Boston sports fan.
I knew I loved you. Yeah.
And then from there, I went to, by the strange set of circumstances, I went to be president and general manager of the Utah Jazz. I was 27 years old when that happened. And I had never run a lemonade stand at that point. So that was a step up for me. But the Jazz were really in bad shape, in bankruptcy. This was in 1983. But I just loved it. I loved rebuilding that team. We drafted Karl Malone. We drafted John Stockton. We built a new arena. We put that club on good ground. And then David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA and dear friend and mentor, who's sadly no longer with us, David asked me to come back and run a division of the NBA called NBA International in 1990. So I moved my family. I had 5 kids at that time. We have 6 total, but we moved our family from Salt Lake City, where I grew up, to New York, and I took over NBA International. And it was only 6 months or so when Dick Evans, who was president and CEO of Madison Square Garden, called and said, "You need to come and help us sort out the Knicks, make the Knicks great again." And I couldn't resist, because that was my team from when I was a boy. I always loved the Knicks, even though my whole neighborhood were Laker fans in Utah. I always loved Red Holzman, the New York Knicks, Clyde Frazier, Bill Radley, Dave DeBusschere, the Willis Reed, Dick Barnett, all of them. I loved that team. And so when I was offered the job to come and try to sort out how we were going to use Patrick Ewing and make the Knicks great in 1990, I jumped at that.
By the way, Dave, can you share a story you told me a while ago that the Knicks would get booed even when they called a timeout?
Right.
And you initiated something that was, I thought, ingenious.
Oh, boy, Joe, you get me in trouble here for all the purist Knicks fans who hated that. So only in the Garden, they had no other entertainment other than basketball. And they actually stood on that as almost self-righteously, as we are here for basketball. Don't bother us with all of the other acts and music and everything else. Just don't do it. But what happened that first year that I came in, I realized that the Knicks had the worst home record in all of the NBA. By far the worst home record. And here they had Patrick Ewing and a fairly talented team. But if you can't win at home, you have no chance. So I went to a game and I watched these players, and there's nothing worse than really getting loudly booed by your home fans. And I had joined in March, so the season was coming to an end, and the team was struggling to finish in the 8th spot. The team would finish in the 8th spot and play the Bulls in the first round. And actually, the first playoff game, the Knicks lost by 41 points in Chicago, which was a playoff record. But when they came home for Game 3, they were so loudly booed. First of all, there was only 6,000 people in the building, and they were so loudly booed that I said, I got to do something about this. I mean, at home, you don't want it. You don't want that, because I watched the look on players' faces. They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be there on a team that was so bad that they were getting booed by their home fans. So I introduced the Knicks City Dancers, which still are part of the whole act, so that there's a timeout. The team's having a rough time. They're down 10, they're down 12 in the first quarter. Coach calls a timeout, and the crowd, instead of booing, onto the floor comes this high-energy group of women dancers with high-impact music, and no one could hear anybody boo.
Brilliant.
That's why I did that.
Wow.
Well, we're going to have to take a break, and we'll come back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi and our incredible guest, Mr. Checketts, and the Knicks and MSG. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The biggest stage in world soccer is days away, and every goal changes everything. And now FanDuel's giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. Oh, that's right. More goals means more bonus bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. Visit FanDuel.com and get started now. Let there be goals on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This spring, Uber Eats has you covered. Whether you're celebrating mom, dad, or your favorite grad, not all of us are great planners, and with the Uber Eats gift hub, you don't have to be. Send flowers, perfume, champagne, or just their favorite meal straight to their door. Gifts arrive in as little as 25 minutes, and you can add a personalized video message for that additional so not last minute touch. So this spring, get a leg up on gift giving with Uber Eats. Last minute gifts that land every time. Must be 21 or older to purchase alcohol. Product availability varies per region. See app for details.
Do you hear that? Sounds like breakfast is ready. Because Quaker's coming in hot with morning nutrition. 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber to fuel the rhythm of your morning and kickstart your day. And that sounds absolutely delicious. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
The Rev and the Rabbi.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnak.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
And we are speaking with Dave Checketts, President and CEO of Madison Square Garden, 1994 to 2001. President of the Knicks, 1990 to 1994. And obviously talking about New York Knicks fever and the history of the organization. Rev?
Yeah, no, I'm just fascinated. Of course, the doing everything you can to deal with the booing that went on. But you have stories that go back with individual players. Share some of those stories with us.
Well, you know, when I first arrived, Patrick Ewing was in his was just finishing the 6th year of his 10-year historic contract that he signed with the team. And he was drafted in 1985, the first player picked in the draft, this 7'2" massive human from Georgetown. And of course, for anywhere that Patrick went, you would expect that team would compete for a championship. But the Knicks, over 6 years, really had never even advanced in the NBA playoffs. The furthest they'd gotten in Patrick's 6 years was to the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. And no matter who they put around him, they couldn't settle on a coach. So Patrick, in his 6 seasons, had 6 different coaches and 4 different general managers. And when Dick Evans asked me to come, I said, well, we're going to stop right there. We are not going to let that happen, because the lack of continuity, of knowing who you play for, of knowing who you play with, that just creates all kinds of a lack of performance and people to blame and people to point fingers. And if players know that their coach is going to get fired anyway, they have long-term contracts, so they don't think anything of just saying, we're not going to listen to him. And so Patrick was in that state. And after 6 years, his agent had negotiated a clause that if Patrick was not in one of the 4 highest paid players in the NBA, he could escape and become an unrestricted free agent. And that would have just killed the franchise. So that's when I was joining. He was coming up on this clause. So I immediately started meeting with him as often as I could, and he would bring his lovely wife in. Rita, she was just great, a lawyer, smart, really calm, really a great part of those talks. And I was just saying to Patrick, look, I've just taken over and been on the job only a few weeks, but Patrick, how do we solve this and keep you here? And he said, look, I think there's no question I'm not going to be one of the 4 highest paid players. There's 4 players ahead of me, clearly. And as a free agent, I'm going to look around because I haven't been able to win here. And the only thing I want to do is actually win. And I said, I understand that, but believe me, things are going to change. We're going to have a world-class coach. We're going to have a world-class staff. We're going to put the right people in places, and they will stay there. You're not going to have all of this change that has given you the feeling of instability. And we had all these meetings, and we just became better and better friends. But the reality was his agent believed that he was not one of the 4 highest paid players. And I absolutely was sure, because we tested it with all of our lawyers. The one thing I had at the Garden was plenty of lawyers, 17 of them. And so we had tested it with all the legal crew. I was quite sure that he was number 4 in the league and that he would not qualify to become a free agent, even though we would go to arbitration for that. But then I found out that there was a movement underway to take Chris Mullin, New York's own Chris Mullin from St. John's, who was playing for Golden State. Golden State was going to amend his contract toward the end of that season and load more money into his contract, meaning that he would then pass Patrick Ewing, springing Patrick Ewing free to become a free agent, and he would sign with Golden State. And they had already tampered with him. Golden State had already tampered with him and offered him this very expensive contract. I found out about that, and I went after the owners of Golden State. I called them and I said, I know all about your plot. I know if you change Chris Mullin's salary to spring Patrick free, the one thing I have at Madison Square Garden is plenty of lawyers. I'm just telling you, I'm coming after you in interference into a contractual relationship. You're not going to get him. You'll be suing us. I'll be suing you for years and years. So you better think before you do that.
Wow.
And here's the best part of the story. They still tried to do it, but Chris Mullin found out that they were trying to change his contract just for the purpose of springing Patrick out. And to his credit, I will always love Chris Mullin. He said, I'm not doing that to my hometown of New York.
Wow.
Not doing that.
So, Dave, I want to ask you, you talked about sitting down with Patrick. You're dealing with a lot of egos, people who are well-paid, treated royally, glorified by the fans. How do you deal with that?
Well, yeah, look, to be that talented and that accomplished to get into the NBA and be one of the best players in the world, there are some real egos, not just with players, but with coaches and general managers. And, everybody has an ego of some kind, but the players, some of them are really very, very difficult. I was lucky in Utah that I had John Stockton and Karl Malone because they were both from small towns. They both were very humble. They both were happy to play in Salt Lake for their whole careers, 20 years. when I came to New York, I found Patrick to be amazingly humble and kind in our meetings. And, he didn't like the fact that we won the arbitration and that kept him restricted to that 10-year massive contract. But I still added on to his contract a couple of very big compensation years because I just felt like he was so valuable to us. And we became the closest of friends. And still, I can count on this. Every Father's Day, first thing in the morning, I'm getting a note from Patrick Ewing that says Happy Father's Day. He will send me a personal note every year because over that time we just grew so close. So I think sometimes a big ego, Joe, is just a cover for the insecurity of I'm not sure I deserve all of this. Right. And the worst kind of egos are those that are the most afraid. But I feel like with the Knicks, Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, Charlie Ward, these were Anthony Mason. These were great, great players. And for the most part, they could leave their ego at the door. And in that locker room, they were part of a great team.
Wow. We didn't even get a chance to talk about this current season that the Knicks are in and the excitement here. And do you have time to hang around for another segment?
Of course, sure.
And by the way, Rev, the other thing I want to touch with Dave is his incredible love for his faith. He's a person of deep faith, and that's something that really should be stressed as well.
Excellent. So stay tuned. We're going to be back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Struggling with weight loss? Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet is a clinically developed nutrition program designed to promote fat loss while protecting lean body mass. Developed at USC's Longevity Institute, it assists the body in entering a fasting-like state that helps reset metabolism and target visceral fat. In just 5 days, Prolon offers a science-backed approach to weight loss without extreme restriction or guesswork. Get 15% off plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe at prolonlife.com/now.
This is what everyone's talking about.
Everything's on the table.
This is what champions come to take. This is what everyone came to see.
And the slam!
No do-overs. No second chances. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This is winner take all. The NBA Finals continue on ABC and the ESPN app.
United connects you to more of the world than any U.S. airline, and United for Business can get your company where you need to go. Whether you're growing a business or managing travel for thousands, they offer solutions to fit your needs. Track expenses, create reports, and manage traveler perks. Plus, employees earn Mileage Plus miles while your company saves on travel. Get started with no minimum spend or flight requirements. Visit business.united.com/podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. The Four Seasons is back for season 2, starring Tina Fey, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, Marco Calvani, Carrie Kenny Silver, and Erica Henningsen. After a difficult year, your favorite group of friends continues their tradition of vacationing together, now with a baby in tow. From the Jersey Shore to upstate New York and Italy, their getaways are sure to take unexpected turns where comedy ensues. Watch The Four Seasons, now streaming only on Netflix.
The Rev and the Rabbi.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnak.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
We're talking with Dave Checketts, President and CEO of Madison Square Garden, 1994-2001, President of the Knicks, 1990 to 1994. And, it's Knicksomania. In New York, Dave, as you well know, and I'm sure in other places well, it's an incredible atmosphere, and it's very healthy for the city.
Yes.
right? There's something that brings people, and we're so divided in so many ways, but it takes this kind of event to bring people closer together and recognize, well, we're on the same team. Talk about that, Dave.
Well, the Knicks fans are the greatest fans, and actually Knicks fans are different than any other New York team because I feel like...
Boy, is that true. Boy, is that true. Go ahead.
No, I feel like basketball is the sport of choice in many ways for the city. I do think, look, when the Rangers won the Cup in '94, that was just an amazing time. But basketball really is the heartbeat of the city, and all those playgrounds and all those playground legends, and the game is a city game. It really, really is. And so it is fun to see them celebrating. And that actually is my only regret. I feel like I had a great almost 11 years at the Garden with the Knicks and then as CEO. But my one regret is we couldn't quite get there. In '94, we were a better team, I thought, than the Houston Rockets. And it went to 7 games, and it was one shot, one way or the other, all the way to 7 games, and we ended up losing at the end, and it was devastating to us because to get that close to grabbing that trophy and not be able to get it was devastating. But it's the city game, and these are great fans, and I hope they can just enjoy this. And I really, really hope the Knicks can deliver.
Do you think the momentum is different this time around? I'm excited the fact that, we're talking about the beginning games on the road, because that's always a challenge. Yeah. Can the Knicks win on the road? And they've been doing it. Yeah. Do you think the momentum is different this time?
Yes, because there's actually a belief that, the Knicks are on some kind of tear. They've won 12 or 13 in a row in the playoffs. It's never happened before. And so people not only believe, but they believe in the Knicks, but they believe they can actually reach out and grab the cup now, as Joe says affectionately, for the first time in 53 years.
Affectionately, yeah.
Dave, I've been with you, New York, Salt Lake City. I really have a loving friendship with you, and I admire your love for your faith. You're a proud member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Talk about that. Talk about that journey.
Well, I grew up just outside Salt Lake City, Utah, in a little town called Bountiful, Utah. My folks met after World War II. My dad was a World War II Marine. He was in Guadalcanal. He was in Iwo Jima. He was in Okinawa. He had a really tough battle at that point in his life. He came home and met my mom. He had seen my mom in a picture while he was on Okinawa with another guy who was married to a woman, and he pulled out his wallet to show my dad a picture of his wife, and standing next to his wife was this lovely girl, and my dad said, "Who's that?" And this soldier said, "Oh, that's her sister, but don't get any ideas of, you're nothing good enough for her. She's like a peach." And finally, my dad started writing. They married a year after he came home in 1946. They had 5 kids, and our lives revolved around our small community, our family, and our church. And so the Church of the Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was our church, and I was raised in it, and I had such wonderful tutors and mentors and examples. I served as a missionary for the church. When I was 19 years old, I was called to serve in the worst parts of East Los Angeles. We had to be in our apartment by 6 p.m. because of gang violence was so bad. And meanwhile, I was walking around in a white shirt and tie, this gangly 19-year-old teaching people about the Bible and the advent of Jesus Christ and his ministry and his gift to us, his atoning sacrifice, his resurrection. I just gained such a strong witness that I wanted to become a disciple of his. And I've been all these years, I'm now 70, and I'm happy to say I have remained devoted, as has my family, to the church, so much so that Deb, my wife, and I were called to go to London and live for 3 years, 2018 to 2021, and supervise the efforts of 700 missionaries in the greater London area who were from 54 different countries. And it was one of the great experiences of our lives. So I couldn't be more grateful for our faith.
So tell us, what's the retention power? Because when you think about how do we measure the strength of a church and its influence, I like to look at its retention of people, because sometimes, people grow up in a faith and then venture off in other directions. But there's a retaining power. What is it that you experience personally?
I really think it's an emphasis on the family. The family is the unit that God ordained for children to be raised in, and families are all different. We know that. Some are single parent families and other kinds of families that come together, but being with loved ones and being with loved ones who have similar faith and strengthening each other is really, it has a permanence, a feeling to it. And then, of course, we build temples all over the world, taking away from Rabbi Potasnak and his great traditions of the Jewish faith. We build temples, and in those temples, marriages are performed not just for time and eternity, or not just for time, but for time and eternity. So there's a belief in a permanence of the family and being with those that you love long after this life is over.
Yeah. Dave, one of the things that I will always treasure, we at the New York Board of Rabbis, we honored you. There are others, but we honored you and Deb, and you demonstrate that you can be a person of faith, you can be a person committed to your profession, and you can succeed in both. You can treasure both. You don't have to hide your identity. And also the relationship you have with people of different faith communities. As a Jew, I admire the relationship that we share. So there's much to be proud of.
No, I think to be on with both of you is really special for me because I admire you both so much, Reverend and the Rabbi. It's a great forum for the similarities and not the differences between us, and there's many more similarities, than there are differences. And I just admire you both for all the great work that you do. It's amazing. I'm a big admirer of both of you.
Well, it's an honor.
We appreciate those kind words. And you have to be intentional. I love what you said about the family. I am now joined the ranks of chiefs. Of course, Rabbi Potasnak was chief before I was. He's chief chaplain for FDNY, and now I'm chief chaplain for NYPD. But
so I have seniority.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it. But I was talking to some police officers, existing chiefs actually, and I said, policing has to kick in when the moral systems fail. And the legs of the moral system in our society begins with the family, then educational system, and our houses of worship. Those are the three legs. And when those are failing, that's when policing has to kick up, because the values, the development of conscience, the formation of principles, when they're not taking place in those institutions, beginning with the family, all of a sudden, police activity has to increase to respond to that shortage. How do you respond to that?
Well, I absolutely believe that has to happen. I had an older brother who sadly is not with us anymore, but he spent his career as a police officer and then an undercover drug enforcement agency or an agent for the U.S. government. And his whole existence was to make the world a better place, especially to get harmful drugs off the streets and to save people who become addicted and who need help. And so, yes, that's the way that it is. But it's in the home, it's in the family, it's with parents who care. The children learn values from a young age. My mother sat on our beds at night. There were three. I had two brothers, and she was in there every night reading to us from the Bible or the Book of Mormon. And I remember there were times where all of a sudden she stopped and I'd look over and she was sound asleep. But I loved her with such affection. She was such a powerful part of my life, and right was right and wrong was wrong. And I was taught great principles and lots of integrity from my father, who I worked with as a teenager and preteen in his business. And I loved them. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to make them proud. And I was really very happy that my mother and father, 1946, May 8th, here Dad was in his Marine uniform, home from the war, and they went to the Salt Lake Temple in Salt Lake City, this beautiful, iconic temple, and that's where their marriage was performed. And in my mind, that meant our family would be together forever.
Well, Dave Checketts, I remember somebody said to me, I learned all my values at the kitchen table, sitting around with the family, and you echo that. Dave, it's been an honor. Yeah. Rev, I don't know how to break the news to you, but I want to surprise you. Dave has given us 2 places at the playoffs. Unfortunately, they're at the watch parties outside of the Garden. But hey, listen, it gets you a little bit closer.
Which our congressman approved the watch party. By the way, that was big news this past week.
Yeah.
All right.
People have called me, Rabbi, to say, can you get us tickets?
No, I'm shocked. Really?
Yeah. I have less influence than anybody you can name.
Well, you have a lot of influence in many areas that we really admire. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for who you are. We're blessed to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. And ditto. Thank you for who you are. Yeah, thank you for being on the program. And thank you for this segment of the Rev and the Rabbi with an incredible guest. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
The most memorable gifts aren't found, they're made. Zazzle is a custom marketplace where you pick any product, a mug, a card, a tote, a phone case, and make it personal. A photo, a name, an inside joke. The kind of gift that actually fits the person. That's what 30 million customers have been coming back to Zazzle for over 20 years to find. Right now, save 25% on your first order at Zazzle.com. That's Zazzle.com. Make it zamazing.
Every act of change begins with a neighbor. When neighbors connect through the Feeding America network, small actions ripple into lasting impact. Feeding America, led by neighbors. Give now to end hunger at feedingamerica.org.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnak.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard. You know, you and I were talking during the break, and I was sharing with you the common disposition of the LDS members, those who subscribe to that faith. It's amazing. And you asked the question, is it real?
Well, that's what people often say. Yeah, they're as nice as they seem to be. And I say, why don't you go out to Salt Lake City? Why don't you get to develop a relationship? We at the board, we have a very close relationship with the LDS Church. And God forbid there's a tragedy, they're on the front lines helping people. I remember Hurricane Sandy. I remember when there were synagogue churches firebombed. There was LDS helping again. They have a great commitment, and they mean it. You know, it's one thing to profess your love, but it's another thing to perform. And performance measures how sincere you are. So he's just a wonderful human being, and wherever he's gone, he's brought great honor to the position.
Yeah. And it's amazing because too often we spend more time being critical of the differences instead of appreciating the similarities and how we can work together towards the common good. It's unfortunate some of the doctrinal ideas in my own faith, in Protestantism, that can't sit to the table. And that's not Jesus. Jesus, in fact, he was criticized for sitting at the table with the strangest of folks. Diversity of political ideas and attitudes, relationship with community and government, and yet he sat with them. He tabled with them. And in the ancient world, sitting at the table, and for your faith today, that's a big deal, sitting at the table.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't have those differences in the Jewish world. We were just all on the same page and never disagreement. But it's, I was thinking the portion that was read in the synagogue yesterday, it's called Behalotcha. It means when you light the menorah, when you light the candles. But the word Behalotcha has this interesting meaning. It means when you cause them to be lit. In other words, you're not just lighting and then walking away. You're making sure that they're burning brightly. And I think that's what commitment is. You don't just walk away. You experience a particular religious ceremony. That's it. We don't see you for a long time. Checketts, people of commitment, they stay with it. No matter what else is going on in the world, they stay with their faith, they stay with their family, and look at how we're enriched by it.
I think the challenges of the world should make your faith grow stronger. Yeah. It should deepen your faith because that's the anchor for your soul. If you truly subscribe to that faith, I mean, all the things that I have experienced in life, and you shared some of those horrific experiences that I had, family, loss of my sons, and other things. But my faith grew stronger. It went deeper because it gave me the kind of comfort and explanations that nothing else could give. And for me, that's important for us to have. You can't live on this planet without hope. The planet is too rough.
Yeah. One of the reasons I very much enjoyed having Dave Checketts is listening to him. He's such a decent human being through and through. And when I read the papers and I see what goes on, especially in the political arena today, some of these candidates who are being elected or popular, may get elected, I often ask, is this the best we can do? People who express their hatred, who sow division, can we do better than this? And then you meet a Checketts. You meet people who are committed solidly. And you say, yeah, we have better out there. Unfortunately, we don't attract all the better or the best to that political world. And there are people there who hurt us.
Well, here's what disturbs me. When these politicians identify so strongly with their faith, especially I'm talking about Christians, right?
Right.
In this country, evangelical Christians in this country, they identify so strongly with their faith, and yet the way they speak and the way they interact with humanity, you wonder, well, wait a minute, what kind of faith is this? It's something. There's an incongruency here, and they don't want to talk about it, and that's because they have transformed either politics, political identity, even their faith as something that sets them apart and above everybody else. That's a problem.
Let me confess to you, one of the things I find so disheartening, and I become despondent over it, is when I see members of my faith who seek public office who turn against my people. People who are sworn in on a Bible, a Jewish Bible, and do things that are injurious to the Jewish people. People who want to separate Zionism from Judaism, who think that there's some dichotomy, and yet the Bible they were sworn in on doesn't have that separation. And I always feel if you're a member of your community, uphold the ideals of your community. Help others, but don't turn your back on your people. And yet we have those running for office who easily betray the principles of Jewish teachings. And they do it with a smile. They do it.
So here,
yeah, go ahead.
I just say, here's the big question. Are they doing it because they're running for office so that they can win that position that they're running for? Is that what you're saying?
I look at it this way. If they're willing to betray their faith to win an office, to get a job, then what good are they? If you're willing to sell or discard your beliefs or the beliefs of your people, because obviously you don't believe in it because, it's not precious to you, but if you're willing to discard what belongs to your people, then I have no use for you. Then you're not of value. But yet there are those who easily do it. So whatever reason they do it, it's unacceptable. And yet there are those, and we could go through a whole list of names. And then there are those who are not Jews, who say and do some horrific things, and they're popular in many circles. So we still have a lot of work to do, Rev.
Right? We're broken, wounded human beings, and we've got a lot of work to do. And that's why we have the Rev and the Rabbi show, because that's the work we're in.
Yeah. We're not retiring
Changing the
so
conversation. Changing the conversation. It's been great. Great show, great guests, and great conversation. And we hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll be back same time next week with more of the Rev
and the Rabbi.
God bless.
Thanks for listening to the Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear the Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
This week, come out to the ballpark as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars at Staten Island University Hospital Community Park for a homestand on June 10th. For a 5-game series as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Individual game tickets start at just $12.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.